Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. Ever since I was little, I had always liked Liam Hart. Liked him very much. After he broke up with his first love, I stayed by his side for 5 whole years. From a refined, elegant young woman, I turned myself into someone reckless, drinking with him and racing cars just to keep up with him. Then he proposed to me. But in the second year of our marriage, he cheated on me with his first love. Jealousy and resentment made me lose all rationality, and I drove straight into the two of them. With a loud crash, I suddenly found myself returned to 1 year earlier. This time all I wanted was a divorce, but he absolutely refused. After a wave of sharp pain, I slowly opened my eyes. My last memory was of myself as a crazed, broken woman driving my car straight into Liam Hart and Summer Thorne. Yet at that moment I was lying on my own bed at home, perfectly unharmed, as if nothing had ever happened. The man standing near the bed turned when he heard the noise, adjusting his tie. "You're awake?" he asked in a low voice, sounding like a habitual question rather than true concern. I recognized the tie immediately. It was the one Summer Thorne had given him years ago. Even though they had broken up, he still couldn't bring himself to throw it away. "There's something important at the company tonight," he said. "You don't have to wait up. Your health hasn't been good anyway. Our anniversary," he paused. "We'll make it up this weekend." I stared at him in shock. I remembered this moment perfectly. Today was our first wedding anniversary, but because of one sentence from Summer, he left me to meet her instead. I had pretended to be sick to keep him home, but he insisted on going. That night, when I found the two of them at the revolving restaurant by the river, they were looking at each other with intoxicating affection. Their eyes were full of tenderness and sweetness. I stood not far from them. Yet, I felt like an outsider, like the third wheel pushed out of the picture. Enraged by Liam Hart's lies, I stormed into the restaurant with red, tear-filled eyes, poured wine all over them, and caused a chaotic scene like a deranged woman. When I was done, Summer, her hair dripping with red wine, calmly took a contract out of her purse. It turned out she had only come to discuss a deal on behalf of her company. From that point on, for an entire month, Liam didn't speak a single word to me until I couldn't stand his coldness anymore and was forced to lower my head, admit fault, and apologize to Summer for my impulsive behavior, just as he demanded. I would never forget the look in Summer's eyes that day. She graciously told me it was fine. And from then on, she openly entered Hart Corporation and just as boldly stepped into our lives. At that moment, I stared at the tie around Liam's neck and suddenly grabbed the phone on the bedside table. "What's wrong with you?" he asked with a frown. The dates were exactly the same as before. I pinched my cheek hard. The pain was so sharp that tears instantly filled my eyes. So, I truly had come back to 1 year earlier. I buried my face in my hands, unable to stop trembling. "Mia, what kind of scene are you making now?" Liam's impatience was clear. "So, what if it's our anniversary? Just a formality. Is it really that important? What do you even want?" He suddenly pulled my hands away, but when he saw me crying and laughing at the same time, he froze. "I'm sorry. I'm just really happy," I said as I wiped my tears. "Go to work. You don't have to worry about me." He frowned but let go of my hands. After taking 2 steps, he stopped. "If you feel unwell, call Lewis and have him get a doctor to check on you." With that, he turned and walked out. Watching his back, I suddenly blurted out, "Liam Hart." He turned back. "What now?" he said. I looked at the man I had stayed beside for 5 long years. The man who had once vowed at our wedding that he would love me for the rest of his life. The man I once believed was my only love. "When you finish this busy period, let's get a divorce," I said. Liam froze, but only for a moment before impatience returned to his face. "Mia Torres, have you made enough of a scene yet? Stop with these tricks. They're not funny." He rubbed his forehead. "I'll try to come home early tonight." "That's not what I mean." But he no longer wanted to listen. He took long strides toward the main door, opened it, stepped out, and closed it behind him. The room returned to silence. I let out a sigh. Of course, at this point in time, my heart had always been filled with nothing but Liam Hart. How could I possibly want a divorce? It wasn't just that he didn't believe me. Probably no one in the world would. He must think I was simply using another tactic to force him to stay by my side. Back then, I really had been unbelievably foolish. I had liked Liam Hart since I was a child. The Torres family and the Hart family had been close for generations. He was always the older boy next door whom I admired. We played together, studied together, and he protected and cared for me throughout my childhood and youth. Our families even joked about arranging a marriage between us someday. Later, we studied abroad and met Summerthorne. People said the two of them had loved each other passionately, but constant fights eventually drove them to break up. When he returned to the country, he seemed like a completely different person. He smoked, drank heavily, and raced cars like he didn't care about his own life. He was no longer the warm, gentle boy next door, the soft summer breeze in my youthful memories. He didn't listen to anyone. To make him drink less, I could only drink with him. I worried about his safety when he raced. I followed him every single time. Just like that, using the excuse of being his childhood friend, I stayed by his side for 5 whole years. Eventually, I finally heard his confession. He told me he liked me, that he wanted to be with me forever. And so we got married. After marriage, he withdrew from his reckless lifestyle and took over Hart Corporation. When he had free time, we ate together and watched movies together. He stopped drinking and stopped racing. At night, he held me in his arms, calling me Mia, Mia over and over again. Back then, I truly believed this sweet happiness would last forever. But less than a year later, summer came back. I cried, I yelled, I threw things. I even knelt and begged him. But no matter what I did, it was never enough. Not compared to a single fleeting glance from Summer. After that, the time Liam spent at home grew shorter and shorter. Every time we saw each other, it was either cold silence or another argument. Clearly, I wasn't the one in the wrong. Yet, day after day, I was the one who had to endure everything. It was only then that I understood. When someone doesn't love you, they simply don't love you. A second choice will always remain a second choice. How naive I had been to think sincere love alone could heal a man's wounded heart. I had given so much to this love, yet all I received was pain. I began to feel unwilling, resentful. If Liam Hart never truly liked me, then why didn't he push me away from the beginning? He was the one who told me he liked me, who wanted to marry me. So why, the moment she returned, did he push me aside without hesitation? What was I to him? Who was Mia Torres in his eyes? 5 years plus 2 years. Who could love someone deeply for 7 years again and again? In the end, because of love, I turned into hatred and madness, wanting nothing more than to drag them down with me, even giving up my own life. Looking back now, I really was a hopeless fool. I stood up and walked toward the mirror. The woman in the mirror didn't have the distorted face I would have a year later, nor the hateful, jealous expression. She was still the Torres family's daughter. Gentle, elegant, and refined, the way people always praised me. Today truly was a day worth celebrating. But not for my wedding anniversary. It was the anniversary of my rebirth. I wouldn't be foolish again, and I wouldn't repeat the same mistakes. This time I would not let love cloud my judgment. I would live well for myself. I jumped out of bed and called my best friend Tina Wells, asking her out. At 7 p.m., the two of us stood in front of the biggest bar in the city. Tina looked at me with a complicated expression. "Are you sure you want to go in?" I nodded. Inside, the bar was loud and buzzing with energy. I wasn't there to drink. I was there to find someone. By 10 p.m., Tina kept insisting on dragging me away. "Who exactly are you looking for? Can't you just look tomorrow?" "My mother-in-law." Tina had already called her 5 times. I didn't want to trouble her anymore, so I went outside with Tina first. I planned to send Tina home and then wait by the bar entrance alone. But just as we reached the door, a college boy suddenly appeared in front of me. "Ma'am, I'm a student from the university next door. I noticed you earlier inside. Could I get to know you?" I stopped for a moment. Tina stepped forward. "Kid, forget it. She's married. Are you short on money?" I asked. The boy froze. I pulled up a QR code on my phone. "Add my WeChat. If you need anything, tell me. If you're ever short on money, don't go to anyone else. Come to me. I'm rich. I can give you plenty." "Mia Taz, have you lost your mind?" Tina glared at me. The boy stuttered, but I didn't give him the chance to refuse. I grabbed his phone, scanned my QR code, hit confirm and handed it back. Make sure you contact me. Mia, what are you doing? Tina's face had gone pale as she pulled me forcefully. Are you drunk? Do you even know what you're doing? Of course I know. My wrist was suddenly grabbed tight. I turned around in surprise. It was Liam Hart. Why was he here? What the hell are you doing? His voice was laced with barely restrained anger. And not far behind him, standing just a short distance away, was Summer. By the time we got home, it was only 11 p.m. Liam handed me a bowl of hangover soup. I shook my head. I told you I didn't drink that much. He stared at me quietly for a long moment. Mia, what's the point of doing all this? I looked up at him, puzzled. You deliberately had Tina text me to say you were at a bar, then put on some act with that boy right in front of me, he said coldly. Was that boy someone you hired too? Did you really have to go that far? I stayed silent. Maybe Tina thought something was off with me tonight, so she messaged him out of worry. But I knew he wouldn't believe that explanation. In truth, he was the one lying tonight. Yet, in both my past life and this one, he always managed to blame everything on me. Simply because he knew I liked him, loved him, and I was always the one who backed down first. Well, do I bother you? I asked, lifting my head. What? If I bother you, then divorce me. Liam froze for a moment. Just because I didn't agree to stay home tonight, he said. Did you really need to make such a big scene? Divorce. Is that it? He looked at me skeptically. Fine. If you want a divorce, then divorce it is. With that, he turned and walked into the bathroom. When he came out, I had already moved all of his daily necessities, his pillow, and his blanket into the guest bedroom. What are you doing? He asked, frowning deeply. I placed the last stack of clothes on the bed and wiped the sweat from my forehead. Since we're getting a divorce, we shouldn't be sharing a bed. So I moved your things here. It's only temporary anyway. Just bear with it for a bit, I said. I won't take this house. Once the divorce is finalized, I'll move out. After that, you can come back to the master bedroom. He let out a short, humorless laugh. All right. You really don't plan to stop, do you? He sat down on the bed, lifted his head, and looked at me. You know, divorce isn't something you can just say casually. I know, I nodded. I'm serious. He gave a cold chuckle. Fine, then do whatever you want. Just don't regret it. Every time something happens, you have to make a scene. Maybe you're not tired, but I'm exhausted. I knew exactly what he was implying. In the past, every fight between us ended the same way. Arguing Cold War, then me bowing my head first, and we would make up again. The one being loved always relied on that, never cherishing it. But this time was different. That night, I locked the bedroom door and slept soundly. The next morning, I woke up early and made breakfast. Liam didn't say a word to me. He simply walked straight out the door to go to work. It made sense. I hadn't intended to make breakfast or lunch for him anyway. Soon, Summerthorne would start working at Hart Corporation, bringing him impressive lunches every day, while the nutritious meals I carefully prepared would be tossed aside like garbage. As I set my glass of milk on the table, my phone lit up. It was a text from the college boy from last night. A message filled with apologies. I'm sorry, ma'am. I sincerely apologize for my rude behavior yesterday. If it affects your relationship with your husband, I'm willing to explain everything. After that came a string of messages apologizing again and again. I sighed and sent him a location. Taurus Medical Group. The Taurus family business operated in multiple fields, and years ago my father had given Taurus Medical Group a modest, steadily growing company as part of my dowry. In my previous life, I had eyes only for Liam Hart. All I wanted was to help him gain his footing in Hart Corporation. So I never valued this company. For him, I had gone everywhere building connections, even lowering myself, swallowing my pride. In the end, he told me I reeked of money from head to toe. At the Taurus Medical Group office, I met the college boy from last night. His American name was Sawyer Newen. How did you know about my situation? He asked. I smiled. I once saw your photo in the scholarship hall when I toured the university. But that was a lie. I really had met him. But in my previous life, before I died that night, I had gone to the company to talk to Liam one last time. But through the half-open office door, I heard him and Summer together, their voices intertwined with intimacy. Liam, why are you acting like a starving wolf? Summer giggled. Slow down. I'm pregnant. "Oh, don't get so excited. Put me down." Those words were like a death sentence to the last flicker of hope inside me. I was his wife, yet he had always insisted he didn't want children. Always careful every time. But he let Summerthorn carry his child. When I walked out of the company building, my legs felt like lead, and I collapsed onto the pavement, sobbing uncontrollably. I didn't know how long I cried until a homeless man passed by and handed me a small piece of tissue. "You sound like you're crying your soul out," he said. He picked up half a cigarette someone had dropped on the ground and put it in his mouth. "Don't tell me your life's even more miserable than mine." He sat down beside me and began telling me his story. Since he was young, he had taken care of his disabled father while studying. To pay for his father's treatment, he had reluctantly let an older wealthy woman support him. Later, because he didn't want her to treat him like a gift she could give away to others, he caused a public scene at school, and the university revoked all his awards and scholarships. Refusing to bow down to that woman again, he ran everywhere borrowing money. But his father still passed away because they missed the best window for treatment. His medical patent was stolen by the company where he had interned, and they even countersued him for compensation. "When I got accepted into a university, I thought I'd finally have a new life," he said with a bitter laugh. "If you need money, I can help you," I told him. But he misunderstood completely. "Are you trying to sponsor me too?" The next day, when I drove out to look for Liam Hart and Summerthorn, I heard someone say that a male body had been found by the riverside the night before. A few hours later I died as well. Last night I went to the bar because I remembered what he once told me that a year ago, it was in that very bar that he ended up being taken in by that wealthy woman. I hadn't expected that in this life I would actually find him. But this time I hoped that not only I, but he too could live a better life. "Are you going through something difficult right now?" I asked, pretending not to know anything. Sawyer bit his lip. "My dad, he's sick. He's in the hospital right now. The daily costs are really high. I need—" He hesitated, unable to say the words. "Something that earns money fast. Someone told me that bar was full of rich people, so I was being stupid." His face flushed red, and he couldn't bring himself to finish. "Do you want to intern at Taurus Medical?" I asked. "What?" He looked up at me, startled. "As you can see, Taurus Medical is still a young company in this industry. We need new talent." "But I'm just a student. Are you saying you want me to work in sales?" I laughed. "How could I? You can start as an intern in the research department. As for your father's medical expenses, we can advance them to you as a monthly salary. You can pay it back whenever you're able in the research department." He froze. "Don't they only take PhDs? I'm nowhere near qualified. How would you know if you never try?" I shook my head. "Trust me, you're going to be someone exceptional. In my previous life, the medical patent stolen from him was groundbreaking. Something not even a PhD, maybe not even a professor, could easily achieve." Sawyer stared at me, stunned, his eyes suddenly red. "Thank you," he whispered, turning away to wipe his eyes. "I won't let you down." I smiled. "Of course you won't. You're meant to shine." I instructed the finance department to advance Sawyer's salary and provided him with the best research resources. I truly believe that this time I could change the fate of both of us. During the following month, even though Liam Hart and I still lived under the same roof, we barely saw each other and didn't exchange a single word. It resembled the Cold War from my previous life, but with one difference. Back then I cried every day, eyes swollen, trying everything to reconcile with him. In this life I was busy at the company, coming home only around 9 or 10 p.m., never contacting him at all. Until Friday afternoon, right before getting off work, I suddenly remembered that I had left a stamp with my name on it in my office at the Hart Corporation building. I drove over to retrieve it. Unexpectedly, as soon as I entered the company, I ran into Summer Thorne. Her hair was styled in loose waves, and she wore a dark red dress with a plunging neckline, carrying a bag with a lunchbox inside. It was clear she had already been working there for some time. When she saw me, she paused for a moment before smiling brightly and walking over. "If you don't mind, would you like to have a cup of coffee with me?" she asked. The cafe on the first floor of the building had been my suggestion back when Liam took over Hart Corporation to give employees a place to relax. And now here I was sitting in that very cafe with his first love, each of us holding a cup of milk tea. "This is the milk tea I loved most when I studied abroad," Summer said with a bright smile, tucking a wavy strand of hair behind her ear. "There's a Chinese restaurant that makes this exact flavor." I have to say, Liam really surprised me. I only casually mentioned wanting the cafe downstairs to sell milk tea. And yet, after all these years, he still managed to find the owner of that restaurant and buy the recipe, Summer said. I knew my response came off flat because the cafe selling milk tea had been approved by me in the first place. Summer's expression stiffened. After Liam took over Hart Corporation following our marriage, he had been extremely busy at first. So, Grandpa Hart entrusted part of the business operations, as well as the office and logistics departments, to me. In my previous life, when Liam told the office to submit a proposal about selling milk tea, they simply wrote it down as an employee suggestion. Later, whenever I met Summer, she would accidentally reveal bits and pieces until I eventually learned that this milk tea stand had originally been something Liam prepared for her. Because of that, I fought with him again. He said I was unreasonable and stopped coming home regularly. The cafe had been created for employees, so naturally, employee opinions needed to be considered. I took a sip of the milk tea. It was truly delicious. "If you have any other ideas in the future, Miss Thorne, feel free to propose them boldly," I said without bothering to see her face growing pale. I put the cup down, grabbed my bag, and prepared to leave. I had barely taken 2 steps when Summer suddenly stood up behind me. "Nia ta juris," she said. I paused. "What? What's the point of holding on to him like this?" she asked. I stiffened. "Clinging to someone who doesn't love you. It's pitiful," she continued. "Is that so? How benevolent of you." I replied. "He used to be cheerful and humorous. Look at what you've turned him into now." Her voice rose. "When he was with me, he was free, happy. But you forced him into a dull, suffocating life." She stepped closer until she was right in front of me. "Have you ever truly cared about his heart? Do you even know what he wants? Have you ever seen his brightest smile?" She didn't slow down. "Do you know that for the past month I've brought lunch to him every day?" he said. "My cooking is full of surprises, far more interesting than your boring, healthy meals. Only when he eats my food do I see the version of him I used to know." Her voice suddenly shook as if she were about to cry. "Mia!" A familiar voice sounded behind me. Liam Hart walked over quickly. "What's going on?" Summer turned her head, wiping a tear at the corner of her eye. "Mia," Liam said sharply, suppressing his anger as he grabbed my arm. "What kind of scene are you making now? Go home with me now." He pulled me outside, put me in the car, and drove straight home. "How long are you planning to cause trouble?" he snapped the moment we walked through the door. "Can you stop dragging other people into our issues?" His anger was overflowing. "I hired Summer because she's talented, she has strong business skills, and you go to the company just to make things difficult for her. Do you know how embarrassing you made me look?" I let out a soft laugh. "I made things difficult for her?" Ignoring his glare, I walked to the drawer and pulled out the divorce agreement drafted at the law firm yesterday. "What is this supposed to mean?" he asked, stunned. "Look at the terms." I sat down on the sofa. "We've only been married for a year. I'll withdraw from the management of Hart Corporation and only take my dowry with me." He stared at me as if he couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You want a divorce from me? Isn't this what we already discussed a month ago?" I asked calmly. "Mia, how long are you planning to keep this up?" he shouted. "Every time it involves Summer, you lose control. First you demanded I throw away her gifts. Then you made me delete photos of her. And now this, bringing out a divorce agreement to threaten me. Can you grow up already?" "Liam Hart," I said. "What's my favorite dish?" He froze. "What are you doing?" he demanded, trying to test me with some childish game. He let out a cold laugh. "Exactly. So, do you know now?" I asked. He went silent for a moment. "Clear broth, right? So, what's your favorite drink?" "Black coffee and fruit apples." "Liam Hart," I said calmly. "My favorite food is spicy snail noodles. My favorite drink is vanilla latte, and my favorite fruit is durian. But normally it looks like I like clear broth because you drink so much alcohol that I make broth noodles for you instead. Apples are a gentle fruit, best for someone like you who eats irregularly." As for black coffee, it's because I used to stay up with you while you raced and I needed to stay awake. He froze completely. You remember everything about your first love from 5 years ago. You can even recreate the exact flavor she loves in just 1 month. But we dated and married, spent 5 years together, and you never once tried to understand me. It's not that I never mentioned my preferences. You just never cared. Now I finally understood. When you love someone, you naturally want to know everything about them. It isn't something you just say. Mayoris, don't you think all this is pointless? Just obsessing over tiny, insignificant things, he snapped. That's right, I said with a nod. I'm exactly that kind of person. He stared at me, stunned. So let's divorce. Another conversation with Liam Hart ended in suffocating tension. Maybe from the very beginning we had never truly been compatible. I had been obsessed with the gentle boy next door. He once was the moonlit version of him from when we were children, and I ignored the reality of who we had become. In the days that followed, I stayed busy as usual. I didn't push him about the divorce anymore. After all, a year from now, when Summer became pregnant, he would be the one eager to divorce me as quickly as possible. That day, I attended a medical forum. Because I needed someone with expertise to accompany me, the research department sent Soy along. Thank you for introducing that doctor for my dad, he said softly in the car. I really don't know how to repay you, I smiled. Living your life well? That's the best way to thank me. But suddenly a huge truck turned sharply onto the road beside us. The car in front refused to yield and intentionally blocked the lane. The truck didn't slow down. That car swerved suddenly and rammed straight into us. The windshield shattered instantly. The airbags exploded, and in that brief moment I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. Liam Hart and Tina Wells were both there. You're awake. You're awake. I need to tell your mom and everyone. Tina rushed out in a panic. I stared blankly at Liam. His face was unshaven, his eyes red, and even his clothes were unusually wrinkled. What kind of driving was that? He finally said after a long silence. When I got here, they said the victim didn't make it. I thought it was you. What was he talking about? I shot up from the bed. Sawyer, where's Sawyer? Liam stiffened. Are you crazy? You're the one injured here. He grabbed me and forced me back down. Let go of me. Where is Sawyer? My last memory was of Sawyer unbuckling his seatbelt and shielding me with his body. Why? How could this happen again? In this life, I was supposed to save him. Mia, Liam said, still refusing to let go. You're not going anywhere. Take care of your injuries first. Let go of me. Just then, Tina hurried back into the room. Don't worry. The one who died wasn't that boy. The truck driver was the one who passed. I froze. It wasn't him. Tears burst uncontrollably from my eyes. Tina gently patted my shoulder. He probably wanted to protect you, that's all. He's injured a bit more seriously, but he's awake now. Don't worry about it, Liam Hart said as he watched me crying uncontrollably, though his expression was hard to read. Under my insistence, I still went to see Sawyer, and his head was wrapped in thick bandages. Yet when he saw me, he smiled faintly. It's lucky we're both still here, Miss Mia, he said. If you ever dare do something that reckless again, I said, I'll fire you. He froze. I just wanted to repay. What I've done for you is not something worth paying back with your life, I said firmly, enunciating each word. I helped you because I want you to live, not die in my place when things go wrong. I understand. After a moment, he lowered his head and answered softly. Silence lingered between us. Do you know how much money I'd have to compensate if something happened to that head of yours? I tapped lightly on his forehead. Huh. He stared blankly. Hurry up and get better so you can come back to work, I said with feigned fierceness. He blinked at me in confusion before breaking into a laugh. Got it. Don't worry, Miss Mia. I won't make you compensate for anything. I stayed in the hospital for an entire month. During that time, Liam Hart seemed different. He came to the hospital every single day. In the past, when we were together, I was the one who talked nonstop. Now I barely wanted to say a word to him. Yet he remained by my side. Even when nothing happened, he tried to start conversations. And when I pretended to sleep, he still didn't leave. He just quietly fixed my blanket and adjusted the angle of my legs. Eventually, the day I was discharged arrived. Liam drove me home. That evening, when he returned from work, he found me packing my things. "Where are you going?" he asked, a trace of panic flashing across his face. "I think if we're getting divorced, it's better for us to live separately." I didn't look up, continuing to pack my suitcase. "Mia." After a moment, he suddenly called my name. I lifted my head. Do you have someone else outside?" The room fell silent. "Is it him?" he asked quietly. "Stop assuming things," I replied. "I've never seen you worry about another man the way you worried about him except me." His voice carried an unfamiliar note of jealousy. I sighed. "Liam Hart, not everyone can trample over 2 relationships without feeling guilty." "So you're still on my ship, right?" he asked in a low voice. I frowned. "We're about to divorce. If I fire Summer, then you fire him too, and we can go back to how we were before." "Okay." I froze. "What did you just say?" He continued. "You won't fire Sawyer? Is he really that important to you?" His tone suddenly rose. "He's that special to you? You can't let go of him." "Liam Hart, don't you realize how unreasonable you sound?" "Unreasonable? I'm your husband." I stared at him, then pushed him away. I grabbed the divorce agreement and handed it to him. "Liam Hart, if you don't sign this, I'll take it to court." With that, I shoved him aside, walked out, and slammed the door behind me. The next morning when I woke up, he was still at home. I went into the kitchen to pour water, only for him to follow me inside. "Last night I lost my temper." "I'm sorry," he said quietly. I glanced at him without replying. "What's for breakfast?" he asked. "If you want to eat, make it yourself. I eat all my meals at the company now. The fridge at home is practically empty. Oh, about lunch. Summer said she's been cooking for me because..." He paused, looking flustered. "Because you're not cooking for me anymore, so I had to eat what she brought. No need to explain. Whoever's food you eat, I don't care," I said flatly. "Will you come home for dinner?" "No, I'll eat at the company too. You eat cafeteria food every day. It's all the same. Let me buy groceries today. We can cook tonight." I cut him off. "Liam Hart, have you finished reading the divorce agreement?" The air immediately went silent. "If you have objections to any of the terms, we can renegotiate," I said. "No." He shook his head quietly. "I just think we can't keep arguing and jumping straight to divorce every time something happens." It was rare for him to lower himself like this, looking almost like a kid who'd been caught doing something wrong. I admit it was my fault for secretly meeting Summer that day. He said, "I just thought that if I'd told you, you'd make a scene. I didn't want another fight with you over something like that." He wrapped his arms around me from behind. "Baby, this time it was my fault. 'Kay, you already got mad. You already blew up. Let's stop here and make up." "All right." Warmth spread from behind me. His lips brushed the edge of my ear. But inside I felt nothing. In 5 years together, he had almost never comforted me. He was always the one on the pedestal, the one being loved, looking down at me. Maybe he truly believed that just lowering his head a little would make me burst into tears and forgive him instantly. But he didn't know that once a heart dies, it can't cry anymore. "Liam Hart," I said, slowly removing each of his fingers from my waist and turning my head to dodge his kiss. "I'm not throwing a tantrum. I'm seriously talking to you about divorce." His arms stiffened instantly. "Mia." He grabbed my shoulders, eyes pleading. "We've been together for 5 years. 5 years of love. What unforgivable mistake did I make that you insist on divorcing me? Haven't we fought before and made up afterward? Do you really like that guy that much?" I lifted my head, looking at him with complete indifference. "Think whatever you want. Think I'm unreasonable. Think I don't care about 5 years of feelings. Whatever you think doesn't matter. I still want a divorce. A poor college kid who hasn't even graduated," he snapped. "Someone who just wants to cling to wealthy women to survive. What can he possibly give you that makes you so obsessed you want to divorce me?" "Liam Hart," I yelled. He froze. "Do you still not understand? I want a divorce for one reason only. I don't love you anymore. That's it." After thinking things over, I decided that during the divorce negotiation period, I would move back to my parents' house. And I also needed to tell them about the divorce beforehand. Just as I expected, the moment I mentioned divorce, my father immediately exploded in anger. When you two got married, the whole city knew, he said. Now, barely a year later, you want a divorce? Won't people talk? Won't they laugh? What's more important? Other people's opinions or your daughter's happiness? I shot back. My daughter. My father trembled with fury. Absolutely not. I will not allow a divorce. I can't afford to lose face like that. When you went out chasing other women, I said coldly, were you not ashamed then? My father was so furious he couldn't speak. You chased after him shamelessly, he finally shouted. Drinking with him, racing with him. You embarrassed this family once already. And now, after 1 year of marriage, you want a divorce. What will people say? Dad, go rest for a bit, my younger brother said quickly, rushing over and shooting me a glance before helping our father into his study. When he came back outside, he walked with me through the garden. Do you remember this place? He asked, pointing to a flower bed. When we were little, every time Dad beat me for misbehaving, you hid me here and took the punishment for me. I let out a bitter laugh. That's because with me Dad only yelled. He never hit. If it weren't for you, Evan said softly, Dad probably would have beaten me until nothing was left but a shadow. The two of us looked at each other and burst out laughing. Evan, I said after thinking for a moment, if I told Mom and Dad to get a divorce now, would you oppose it? He fell silent for a bit, then shook his head. No. To me, nothing is more important than you and Mom being happy. Back then you liked Liam Hart. Even though I felt he didn't deserve you, I still supported you chasing what you wanted. But your personality on the outside, you look gentle, but deep down you're so stubborn. No matter how much you suffer, you keep everything to yourself. That's why I've always worried. I was afraid that if one day he disappointed you, you wouldn't be able to recover. But now that you want to leave him, whatever the reason is, I'll support you as long as you don't hurt yourself. And Mom, Evan sighed. She sacrificed so much for the two of us. Whatever decision you and Mom make, I'll support both of you completely. Thank you, I whispered as I hugged him, my eyes stinging. You really are the best brother in the world. Don't get cheesy on me, he laughed, patting my shoulder. Don't worry. Right now the Torres family relies on me. Even Dad has to listen to me. You protected me all those years. Now it's my turn to protect both of you. Do whatever you want. Even if the sky collapses, I'll hold it up for you. A while later, my mother came home. Divorce, she said, stunned. I nodded. You and Dad haven't had feelings for each other in a long time, right? Wouldn't divorce be better? In his heart, only that early moonlight he lost years ago is his true love. I'm already over 50, she murmured. If I divorce, who would I even look for? Besides, I've lived like this for so many years. I'm too old to worry about these things. What am I supposed to go look for romance now? Precisely because you're older, you should live the way you want, I said. Live a better life, Mom. She hesitated. You're getting a divorce from Liam Hart, too? What? Why? She asked, her eyes wide. Didn't you love that boy so much? I did, I said. But in his heart, his first love will always matter more than I ever could. I don't want to waste my precious life in a marriage this meaningless anymore. So I want a divorce. Mom, do you support me? She stared at me for a long moment before suddenly pulling me into a tight hug. Tears fell silently down her cheeks. Why? She cried. Why is my life miserable? And now my daughter has to suffer the same fate. Why must it be like this? I knew she had never truly healed. All these years she suppressed it all because of me and Evan. It's okay, Mom, I said softly. If fate is cruel, then we'll change it. We'll rewrite it. In my past life, I was so consumed by my own pain that I never realized how much she had suffered too. But in this life, I would make sure she lived happily. After that, Evan handed me the keys to an apartment near his office. I temporarily moved there. On my first night away, Liam Hart called me 10 times, but I was in a meeting with the technical team, so I didn't answer. When I stepped out of the conference room, my assistant told me Liam had been waiting in my office for 2 hours. He was looking for me so urgently. Did that mean he had finally signed the divorce agreement? I hurried back to my office. The moment I opened the door, I saw him standing there, staring blankly at my desk. The divorce agreement, I started. Before this, he interrupted softly. You kept a photo of the two of us on your desk, didn't you? Where is it now? I stopped walking. Where else do you think it would be? I replied. You've already decided to divorce, I said. Of course, I threw the photo away. Seeing I didn't answer further, he fell silent for a moment. I came to take you home, I sighed. Liam Hart, we already think our marriage can still be saved. He cut in. He stepped closer. These days when you weren't home, I thought a lot about everything. I even looked through all our photos again. The albums you made every single year. Do you remember? We've gone through 5 years together. Mia my moon. He reached for my hand. 5 years of feelings. How can you say divorce and mean it? Don't be like this. Come home with me. If there are misunderstandings, we can clear them up. Maybe there's no misunderstanding at all. I pulled my hand away. Maybe you think I'm dramatic. Maybe you think I'm unreasonable. Maybe you think these things are small and petty. But the day you first went to meet Summerthorn, the day you decided to bring her into Hart Corporation, the day you added milk tea to the cafe menu for her, and the days you happily shared meals she made, did you ever once think of our 5 years together? Did you ever think about how I felt? You stared at me, stunned. No, you never did because you're used to being loved by me. But you never loved me. That's not true, he said quickly, reaching for my hand again. How could I not love you? You're just used to me always being there. I brushed his hand away. When you and Summer get back together, you'll forget me in no time. You might even feel relieved. Finally free from someone boring like me. Who said you're boring? His voice suddenly rose. But then he seemed to realize something and stopped. I looked at him quietly. I'll make her leave Hart Corporation, he blurted. He stepped forward, nervous but careful, pulling me into his arms. I promise I won't see her again. Everything you asked me to throw out, I'll throw out as soon as we get home. Liam Hart, I sighed helplessly. Your birthday is coming soon. He continued. Last year, you and I were both working overtime, so we didn't celebrate properly. This year, let's do something nice. Okay? I already told you. If you won't sign the divorce agreement, I'll take it to court. His entire body stiffened. What happened to you? Why are you like this now? He stepped back, dazed. I lifted my head and looked straight into the eyes I once thought were as beautiful as distant stars. Now that I looked again, they were ordinary, almost dull. Maybe this was the difference between loving and not loving. He still refused to sign. In the CEO's office at Taurus Corporation, Evan frowned. He still won't sign? I nodded. Lately, he's been coming to the company every day. Flowers, snacks, sending stuff nonstop. I heard he even fired Summer from Hart Corporation and had HR report it directly to you. Evan twirled a pen between his fingers. Should I have my company put pressure on Hart Corp? I shook my head. No need. He'll figure it out eventually. Mom finally came around too, Evan said, smiling. I already found a lawyer. Right then, Liam Hart called. I answered. Hart Corporation is hosting an appreciation banquet tomorrow night. Can you attend with me? Before the divorce was official, I was still his wife in private matters, and professionally I was still part of Hart Corporation's management. At events like this, attending was necessary, so I agreed. The next afternoon, I arrived at the venue and changed into the gown assistant Lou had prepared for me. It wasn't my usual style. The dress was bolder and more revealing than what I usually wore. But since I wouldn't be attending many Hart Corporation events anymore, I didn't really care. I didn't expect anything to happen. But something did. Summerthorn, representing one of the vendors, walked in wearing the exact same dress as me. Wearing the same outfit wasn't scary, but the ex-girlfriend and the current wife wearing matching dresses, that was guaranteed to spark gossip. The relationship between Liam Hart and Summer had once been the talk of the town. Those who knew the story whispered and pointed discreetly around the venue. Liam and I were standing in the front row when Summer, in 10 centimeters heels, gracefully approached us, completely ignoring everyone's curious stares. She lifted her glass with a bright smile. Liam, she said, I'm back working with my old company again. We're partners now. She beamed. Here's to Hart Corporation growing even stronger next year. Liam's face darkened as if he feared losing something. His grip on my hand tightened. Suddenly, the lights in the hall went out. The host on stage spoke dramatically. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, 1 year ago, Hart Corporation completed its generational handover. Over the past year, President Liam Hart and his wife have tripled the company's profits, achieving a historic breakthrough. The devotion between them is truly admirable. Tonight, President Hart has personally prepared a video documenting the journey of how he and his wife met and fell in love. Please give a big round of applause for their love story. The hall erupted in applause. The giant screen lit up. Soft music began playing. Photos of me and Liam from childhood to adulthood appeared. Pictures of us first meeting at 6 years old. Family dinners with both our families. Moments of us growing up together. What a perfect childhood sweetheart couple, someone murmured. But then the video reached Liam's teenage years. And suddenly the girl in the photos was Summer Thorne. Liam's face went pale. More photos appeared. Liam driving a motorcycle with Summer on the back. The two of them laughing together, kissing. The room exploded into whispers. Why did the girl suddenly change? What's President Hart trying to do? Don't you know his past? It was a whole scandal back then. Liam squeezed my hand tightly. How? How is this happening? He turned towards Summer, shock all over his face. This video is stored with my assistant. Was this you? Why would you? I just wanted you to see the truth, Summer said, flicking her voluminous curls. To see who you're really happiest with. She pointed at the screen. The timeline had reached 5 years ago, and the girl in the photos had switched back to me. Look at your face when you're with her, Summer said. Even your smile looks forced. You pushed me away only because you were used to having her around. But who do you actually love? Do you still not know? Get out, Liam growled. His entire body trembled. He lowered his voice. Get out, Summer. Can you be rational for once? She shouted back. You're even afraid to confess your feelings in public now. Back in school assemblies, you'd stand up and yell that you loved me. Where's the lively, fearless boy you used to be? How did you become this hesitant coward? Just then the lights snapped back on. The host stood frozen, clearly never expecting this. Summer didn't leave. She stood there stubbornly, refusing to move. Everyone was staring at Liam Hart, waiting for the drama between the three of us to unfold. Maybe Summer was right. She could live boldly and recklessly for love. But I could not allow the entire Hart Corporation to become a laughingstock tonight. I closed my eyes, lifted my dress slightly, stepped onto the stage, and took the microphone from the stunned host. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed partners of Hart Corporation, I said with a calm smile. I wish you all a wonderful evening. Tonight we gather here to express our sincere gratitude to all of you, our partners, our friends who have contributed tremendously to Hart Corporation's growth this past year. Although we've gone through 2 generations of leadership, Hart Corporation is still a young company. The video our CEO prepared was meant to remind us that youth is beautiful, full of diversity, uncertainty, challenges, joy, and emotion. In the past year, with your support, Hart Corporation has transformed into a company with far greater potential. We've shed the immaturity of youth and grown more stable, more reliable. Because of that, the industry has recognized and celebrated us. We hope that in the future we will continue working together to achieve remarkable success. Warm applause filled the hall. Several friends who understood the situation discreetly gave me a thumbs up. On this occasion I continued, I would also like to make an official announcement. Now that Hart Corporation's operations have stabilized, I will gradually step back from business management. The crowd erupted into murmurs. Instantly, all eyes shifted toward Liam Hart and Summer Thorne. I smiled. The reason is simple. Many of you know that my mother and I have always been passionate about charity work. In the future, I will be focusing on developing Taurus Medical, which is still in its early stages. We hope to use the power of modern science to create our own innovations in medicine, helping ease the suffering of patients and bringing hope and a better future to many. Another round of applause broke out. I turned to Liam, ready to speak clearly and decisively. Liam Hart and I have reached an agreement to. A sharp screeching noise blasted from the speakers. The microphone had been forcibly cut off. I turned my head, startled. Liam was running up onto the stage, breathless. Baby, please don't, he said, his expression full of desperation. He took the microphone from my hand. Even though he forced a smile toward the audience, His lips trembled slightly. We, my wife and I, have decided to continue contributing actively to charity work in the future, he announced, and we hope to receive everyone's support. In the lounge afterward, Liam and I sat facing each other while Assistant Lou stood anxiously nearby. Moon, I swear I didn't know he would do that, Lou stammered. The dress too. I just wanted to surprise you. I know. It's fine, I answered calmly. In my previous life right before dying, I learned that Assistant Lou had been working for Summer. His mother had a heart condition and Summer's mother, an internationally renowned cardiologist, had been the lead surgeon who saved her. I didn't blame him. But you rushing onto that stage like that, I sighed, people will talk. It won't look good. I don't care, Liam said, eyes gleaming. What is reputation anyway? Back then when you were by my side, people also gossiped. But you never cared, did you? I stayed silent for a moment. I'm not like you, Mia. Liam suddenly knelt on one knee in front of me, looking up at me with pleading eyes. Please don't lose hope in me. I can swear that every single thing you've ever done for me, I can do for you. Everything you once did for me, Liam said. I admit that when I was young I was drawn to Summer. She was bold, reckless, always doing crazy things. That kind of personality fascinated me. But she and I were never truly compatible. Maybe because our breakup back then was such a mess. I always felt unsettled about it. When I saw her again this time, I got confused for a moment. He shook his head slowly. But now I'm completely clear. All these years I've been in love with you, Mia. Being with you never felt forced. You're calm, strong, gentle, patient. You changed me. You made me grow up. He tightened his grip on my hand. Moon, I'm begging you. Don't leave me. Please give me one more chance. I let out a long breath. Let go first. I need to go change. On my way to the dressing room, someone suddenly stepped in front of me. Mia, it was Mr. Wong, and the moment he saw me, he latched onto me. Your speech was excellent tonight. Thank you, I said politely and tried to walk past him, but he suddenly grabbed my arm. Don't pretend with me, he said, smirking. We know each other well, don't we? Mr. Wong, please let go. He ignored me and let his oily fingers slide down my arm. Come on, Mia. Don't act distant. Liam may be blind, but I'm not. I've liked you for a long time. When you won that dance competition years ago, your body was stunning. I still have the video saved on my hard drive. Smack. A fist slammed straight into Mr. Wong's face. I gasped. I hadn't even realized Liam Hart had charged over. He punched Mr. Wong again and again. Oh my God, he's killing me. Help! He's killing me. Mr. Wong screamed. Liam, have you lost your mind? Summerthorne heard the commotion and rushed over, trying to pull him back. What are you doing? One more hit and you'll be in jail. Get out of the way, Liam snarled. He touched my wife. His eyes were bloodshot, and he kept swinging even harder. Summer froze, then slowly released her hold on him, stepping back 2 paces. She turned to me, bitterness twisting her expression. You must be pleased now, huh? She snapped. But did you know he used to fight for me 2 more times than I can count on both hands? Don't think you've won. With that, she turned and stormed out of the hall. The situation with Mr. Wong was eventually settled through negotiation between both sides. Liam refused to go to the hospital, so I had to borrow the company's first aid kit to clean and bandage his wounds. How do you want to celebrate your birthday? He asked carefully. I'm fine with just a bowl of instant noodles. Let me organize something for you, please. He grabbed my hand too quickly and winced when the movement tore at one of his cuts. I was too exhausted to argue anymore, so I simply said, fine. In the days that followed, Liam continued sending me all kinds of gifts. Are you really going to divorce Liam Hart? Tina Wells asked. He seems like a completely different person lately. He even asked me which type of flowers you like. Did you tell him? No, I replied. Tina grinned. I told him you liked colorful ones. Let him guess. I couldn't help laughing softly, right? Then I added, you know, I've been busy with Taurus Medical lately. You graduated from UC's medical program. Want to come help me? Tina and I had very different lives. She came from an average business family. She married rich, but her in-laws looked down on her and demanded she stay home, take care of her husband and children, and never come home late. Even her clothing had to be conservative. In my previous life, Tina endured every unreasonable rule from her in-laws because she loved her husband, and in the end she fell into depression. Now that she had a second chance at life, I wanted her to live as her true self. "Mia, can I really do it?" she asked. "Why wouldn't you?" I replied. "Your husband supports you working outside the house, doesn't he?" She nodded. "But my mother-in-law." "Mia, do you know what the biggest lesson I've learned from my marriage is?" "What?" "Never lose yourself for anyone," she said softly. "A woman's place to shine has never been the cramped few hundred square feet of a house." Tina froze, but the next second, her once dull eyes lit up with longing and determination. She hugged me tightly. "You're right. The life I'm living now, it was never my dream." On my birthday, my younger brother and I returned to the house Liam and I shared. The moment we stepped inside, a burnt smell drifted from the kitchen. Liam was clumsily preparing ingredients. When he saw us, he happily hurried out. "I made your favorite dish and I bought flowers too." He pulled me into the living room, which was filled with roses of every color. There was a hopeful, cautious look on his face. "Do you like it?" I forced a smile. "It's okay." He froze. "Why do you look so pale? Are you feeling unwell?" I shook my head. "I'm fine." "Then sit and rest. I'll finish cooking." As soon as he walked back into the kitchen, my brother grimaced. "You've got to be kidding me. Who serves snail noodles at a birthday dinner and all this fruit? Durian? Seriously, what's wrong with him?" I let out a faint laugh. "Forget him, sis," Evan said worriedly. "I already told him you're sick. Why did you even come? You should be resting. Sign the agreement and I'll take you home right after. Leave the rest to me." I nodded, but before I could respond, Evan suddenly shouted, "Mia!" A wave of dizziness hit me and I collapsed. When I regained consciousness, I was in the bedroom. Through the slightly open door, I heard Evan and Liam facing each other outside. "My sister inherited my mom's vertigo condition," Evan said coldly. "It's not serious, but whenever she's sick, it flares up easily." I didn't know," Liam murmured. "Of course you didn't." Evan let out a sharp, humorless laugh. "Has there ever been a time she was sick and you were there for her?" He stepped closer. "She never wants anyone to worry. She never wants to trouble anyone. She carries everything alone. But she stayed beside you for 5 years. 5 years of pulling you out of emotional hell. Do you even know how much alcohol she drank because of you? How many nights she stayed up with you? Do you have any idea?" Liam lowered his head. "I know I wronged Mia. I'll treat her better from now on. Could you talk to her for me? Help me persuade her." Evan stared at him, his voice steady but ice cold. "Liam Hart, my sister likes you, so you're my brother-in-law. If she doesn't like you, then to me, you're nothing." He paused before continuing. "I don't know if you remember, but when we were kids, my sister's name wasn't Mia Tawes. It was Mia Harper Tawes." Liam suddenly looked up. "My biological father loved someone else, his first love, who passed away. He used my mother as a substitute. He even named my sister after that woman." Evan's jaw tightened. "My mom once loved him with everything she had. But when she found out the truth, it shattered her. She took my sister to change her name, but in the end she still stayed for us." He looked straight into Liam's eyes. "Do you know why my sister liked you? When our parents fought when we were little, my father yelled at her. He kicked her out of the house that day. She ran out crying and you were the one who brought her home. You told her, 'It's okay if other people don't like you. I will like you.' You pulled her behind you, shielding her as you stood between her and my father, yelling at him not to bully her anymore. You may have forgotten all of that long ago, but she remembers it clearly. When you came back after your breakup years later, she couldn't bear to see you fall apart. She chose to stay by your side, loving you, sacrificing for you. So much so that even an outsider like me felt jealous. And what have you given her in return during these 5 years? Liam Hart," Evan said coldly. "Now you want to hold on to her. Ask yourself if you deserve to. Stop. Please stop." Liam squeezed his eyes shut in pain. "I'm not done." Evan stepped forward. "Maybe you don't know this, but my sister used to love spicy snail noodles. But after drinking so much with you for so many years, her stomach is damaged. She hasn't been able to eat it in a long time. When Liam walked into the room holding a bowl of fresh shrimp congee, I was already sitting up. Are you still feeling uncomfortable anywhere? He asked, touching my forehead with worry. I shook my head. Liam, have you signed the divorce agreement yet? Mia. His eyes widened instantly. I know I was wrong. Unforgivably wrong. I deserve to die. I swear I'll change. I'll be a better husband. Liam Hart, I interrupted softly. I'm allergic to shellfish. He froze. Our eyes met and tears spilled down his cheeks. I'll go get plain congee right now. There's no need, I said, shaking my head. I'm sorry, he whispered, wiping his face. And your favorite flowers? They're purple larkspurs, right? His voice trembled. Next time I'll buy those for you instead. But we both knew the truth. There would be no next time. Love, once starved until it withers, cannot bloom again. And purple larks, the flower I loved most, symbolizes freedom. 3 years later, I was resting on a small European island when a familiar voice called out. Director Torres, enjoying the quiet life, huh? I opened my eyes and saw Tina Wells in a swimsuit. After my divorce from Liam Hart, I relocated the headquarters of Torres Medical to a coastal city, leaving the local branch under Tina's management. Now she had moved out of her husband's house, and instead of being timid and obedient, she had become the dominant voice in her own family. No one dared raise their voice at her anymore. Last year, Sawyerwan secured a medical device patent, paid off all his debts to me early, and was now the head of our technical team. I had also received many invitations for interviews and had unintentionally become quite well known. With competent managers like you, I smiled, handing Tina a cold bottled water, I really have less to worry about. Don't flatter me, she laughed, sitting beside me. You're the smart one for getting out of that messy place early. Now it's full of gossip. Guess who it's about? Your ex-husband. Tina giggled. I swear after you left, he started drinking again every day. And do you know what happened next? What? I only heard this through rumors, but Summer Thorne went to the bar dressed in your clothes. She must have been drunk and mistaken someone for him. But the two of them ended up. You know, Tina shrugged. A month later, Summer got pregnant. Liam was furious. He told her he wouldn't marry her and told her to get rid of it. I raised an eyebrow. That's excessive. Well, her mother is a world-famous cardiac surgeon. Apparently, she stormed into the Hart family home with a scalpel in her hand. What? I couldn't help laughing. That's insane. In the end, Tina continued, Liam still married Summer, but ever since she got pregnant, they've been fighting every single day. Every day, Summer cried and caused scenes, even threatening to jump off the balcony. And Liam Hart somehow kept insisting on placing purple larks, your favorite flower, all around the house. Summer wouldn't allow it, so they argued non-stop. Liam refused to compromise. Their neighbors couldn't stand it anymore and filed multiple complaints with the management office. In the end, maybe because she was constantly unstable and overly emotional, Summer lost the baby. And Liam, well, I heard he signed several major contracts by mistake, got tricked a few times, and even had a mole planted inside the Hart family business, costing them billions. The Hart family couldn't tolerate it anymore. Old Mr. Hart declared that Summer was ruining the family's fortune, and insisted the two of them divorce. Rumor even says Summer's mother stormed in again holding a surgical scalpel. No one knows how it ended this time. Oh my God. How can you be so calm about all this? Tina Wells stared at me. Those stories are everywhere in our circle right now. I smiled. Honestly, I'm not very interested. Those people have nothing to do with me anymore. Fine. Let's not talk about them. Tina glanced around. Where's your mom? She didn't come with you. She's on another island with her boyfriend. After the divorce, my mom hadn't planned to date anyone new. But during a study program in the UK, she met a university professor in his 40s. He fell in love with her at first sight and pursued her relentlessly until she gave in. And your brother? Tina asked. Still single? No girlfriend yet? I shook my head. He's busy opening a European branch. He's still young. When the right person comes along, he'll meet her. And you, huh? She teased. Am I supposed to check your dating status too? I laughed. So this is you pretending to care about me? Well, I am caring about you. I looked toward the distant blue sea just as my phone buzzed. It was a message from Sawyer Wynn. The experiment was a success. I'll prepare the documents for the new patent tomorrow, followed by a sad little sticker. I smiled softly. When I meet someone who makes my heart flutter again, of course I'll love with all I have. Because no matter what has happened, this world is still beautiful. Isn't it?